All right, y'all. Welcome back to Doriansdiyaudio. We're now here on the final stage of the Alpine Amplifier Extravaganza. If you haven't seen the last two, I had picked up a lot of these old Alpine MRD series. This is a D because it's a Class D 1000 amplifier. Okay, this is part of the V12. They all are part of the V12 series. I forget exactly what year these came out. I want to say like the 10s, 2010-ish area. So, sorry, the boiler just kicked on, but real quickly, let me show you what we got. I was saying in the unboxing that these were one of the first few amplifiers that came in that had its built-in DSP, kind of like the Warhorse. I didn't think it had a controller, but when I pulled this cover off here to expose the battery hookups and all of this, it does have a controller. So we'll go online and see if we can figure out what the controller is and if I can get my hands on one. So anyway, I gotta string up some 4 gauge for the battery. We got everything else all situated, so I'll come back here in a few minutes when we get that wired up, and we'll continue moving forward. All right, y'all, welcome back. We have the Alpine MRD-M1000 hooked up to the battery. Power on the supply is off right now, but that's fine. We'll kick it on when necessary. I am just going to jump the positive to the remote to activate the power there, so I don't have to cut the end on my other setup there, which has a fork terminal on it. So here we go. Actually, before we even do that, one thing I was telling you guys before, these amplifiers haven't been on for quite some time, so what we want to do is we want to charge the caps using a power supply. Do that real quick. $14 volts, and then $5 amps is about where I typically like to go on those. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Perfect. Close enough. Right? So let's go ahead and get this hooked up. So as you can see, I got a red wire, and this is actually blue underneath here, but I did put the correct heat shrink on there so that we are familiar with what we got going on. So that, and then I'm going to connect that one there, hook this here, and turn around. All right. Now, this having a lot more in there, you can see how much more it's power it's drawing on its own right now. All right, this is just sitting there idling, and I'm not sure if this is still charging the caps because this is a much bigger amp than the other ones that we're using. So we'll just give it some time to just kind of sit there with the power supply on it, let everything get used to having some juicies back in it, and then we'll come back and start testing on No Grow. Now it does show a voltage here of 14 volts, and this is reading 14.3. Let's see if I can get that to change some. Yeah, it changes some. So one of them are off. I know the power supply is off a little bit, but not by 0.3 or 0.3 of a volt. And it looks like this is just this is what this thing draws when it's turned on, right? It draws 2.7 amps at 14 volts. And as I was saying, these things are like, even though it's a 1000 watt amplifier, this thing is like really a 2,000 watt amplifier. I think they just backed them way down, and they usually do well, you know, over its rated power at any rating that you have for them. So we're good there. We're going to turn that power off, turn this off, and then get this out of here. I am going to keep the jumper because, like I said, I didn't want to snip my other remote wires that I use all the time. So let's go on ahead and get the computer back up and going. Sorry, you can't see my password. Alrighty, that's gooch, that's gooch. That's on, that's good. I never did get a chance to get my oscilloscope charged back up, but I really don't necessarily need that right now. Get these hooked up on the speaker wire terminals here. All right, and now we have some inskis on that. So this being a 1,000 watt amplifier, I'm gonna make sure that everything is down. Okay, RTA down. Yeah. Okay. Cool beans. So let's go ahead and get this thing powered up. And let's see how she works. Guess I ought to turn the battery back on. All right, there you go. And now you can see, because I don't have the supply on, it's reading 11.9. But up here in my other voltmeters, I'm showing 12, whatever, that's cool. Let's go ahead and do a pink noise. There is our frequency. We got a 40 hertz test tone going in, and we can go all the way up. Now this thing rolls off, I think, at 200 hertz, so you kind of get what you get. And this here, because of this digital deal, playing with the crossovers a little bit more. So I do want to go to a pink noise, and just see what we got for a pink noise. And we're looking good. We're looking good. I will test these ones a little bit more off and actually hook them up to some subwoofers and play with them later. But as you can see, our pink noise is coming in good. And come back down here, go back to RTA. Oops, sorry, sine waves. Turn that down. All right. And bring that there. There we go. Oh, I guess we can go over to the oscilloscope and just look at her, and we can see we are nowhere near clipping no girl. So you see she starts to get noisy right there. All right, I'm not sure what that's about. I only have 12 volts going into it right now, and I don't have the power supply on. Let me go ahead and kick that on and see what we're looking at. All right, we're now reading 13.8 and dropping back down to 12.6. But let's go ahead and turn the gain up. Yeah, it starts to get clippy right there. So yeah, it gets a little noisy just before she clips. All right, so that seems about right. The gain structure is one to be done with, and maybe I'll play around with this and then come back to you guys and show you, in case there's anybody out there who has one of these and want to see how it's done. So I would say that the first big mono block is a success. We can go ahead and set it off to the side. As of right now, we've tested 5 amplifiers, and only one amplifier has one channel that's bad. So let me go ahead and get this disconnected and transferred over and get us on to the next amplifiers. All right, so here is the next big behemoth. And just so you guys see the size of these things, I got a 3K, that's almost a 4K up there. This is 21 5/8 of an inches long. And I believe the almost 4K I got's like 13 inches long. And it's about as wide as that. You know, this is just a cover. So let's go ahead and get this popped off. You can see how that works. So there's 4 screws that have to come out in order to get that bottom plate off or cover. All right, and this amplifier is in better shape than the last one, but you know, I wasn't looking quite necessarily for a beauty contest, even though they're all in pretty good shape. I can do any touching up that I need to make it decent enough for what I'm using it for. This isn't a brand new build, so, and I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about dipping my feet back into the SQ competition side, but I'm not 100% sure yet. But anyway, there's that plate off. And when I say dipping my feet back into, let's be clear, when I was younger, I was pretty close to starting to compete, and for reasons I decided not to, and mainly that was kind of really the same thing as like nowadays, right? Like it's all dependent on what equipment you have. Oh, that's SPL brand, and it's like, sorry to bust your bubble, but I don't want to keep throwing them out there, but SQL sub by Stereo Integrity that everybody so dearly loves, and gratefully so. It's a great subwoofer, but you know, that's a Sundown SPL subwoofer. I think it's just an older or different version or what so have you, whatever. Don't completely quote me on it, but if you follow the guys that I follow and know the people I know, the same guys who build the Sundown are the same exact guys who build the SI, and they're also in the same building, so on and so forth. I hope I'm not hurting nobody's feelings by saying that, but you know, it kind of really is what it is. Whatever, as long as your product's good, right? I don't think anything else should really matter. And they make good products. So anyway, good. Let's go ahead and turn. Ooh, before I turn the old girl back on, I need to charge those caps in this one because we don't want to fry her. Alright, sorry about my big old head, y'all. But let's get that out of there. Yeah. Oh, I need to always check because the slightest bump can move things around. So that's still good. That's still good. All right. So always check because you can easily bump things around and then have yourself I think the protection circuit would help out in this, but you want to make sure. So anyway, they're there. On. She turned on. Power's on. And we're just going to give it some time. Let that caps go ahead and charge up. Everything inside, we just want it to go ahead and let the juices of flowing throughs. All right. Get that off. I was back feeding some of my other voltage gauges over there, and I was wondering why in the hell they were all illuminated, showing voltage. Well, guess that's what happens when you backfeed, right? So, now we got that out of there. I'm gonna go ahead and click on the power supply. We're no longer backfeeding, we're just feeding. And then there shall be power. Now once again, the power supply itself is on. That's why we're reading such a higher voltage. All right, and I instantly want to come over here and turn it down because I'm a clipperoo. I don't know exactly where this is all set up. Once again, that base engine stuff that we got going on in there. But here is the oscilloscope, right? And we can see we're getting a good signal here. 49. Let's change that to 40 hertz. All right, 40 hertz, and then we can just kind of give a little more input and see. Get noisy and then clip. All right, so just before it gets it clips, it gets a tad bit noisy. So let's go over here to the peak test tone, peak noise, RTA. We got that going, and we can crank this up a little bit more. See what we got going there. And you know, this is indicative basically of what you're gonna get. I think these have a frequency response. I think they only got down to 20 hertz, which is, if that's the case, is somewhat kind of a bummer. Which means, like, if I was to go IB, these wouldn't really be a good amplifier for that if this only goes down to 10 hertz. Or sorry, to 20 hertz. All of the other amplifiers have a frequency response from 10 to 50K. And I don't do any rebase stuff. I don't. That's not really my my deal. The whole, I'm gonna call reverse SPL, where you try to see how loud you can be with your lowest frequency. I'm not really into that. I'm more into like the SQ, or to really, I like to call it just having like a really knock-up system, a really great system. You know what I mean? The SQO, SPL, SQ, those are all just starting to get too blended and whatever. So that's that. I don't want to go into a rant on it. But so as we can see, this amplifier works good. The other one, monoblock, works good. I am going to get them powered up, and I have a subwoofer under here. It's just a little 10-inch in a sealed box, a Sundown SDV3. They're kind of noisy, so I'm not really going to play them. But I am going to, when I shut down with you guys, I'm going to take a listen to and just check it out. So, all right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it was a little long. If you want to hang out sometimes these are going to be the videos that I make. I do put some effort into editing, so on and so forth. If you guys haven't noticed, I like to try to make thumbnails and stuff too. So if you guys haven't noticed that, and you know, once again, I'm not really here trying to sell you guys anything. So, not really. I'm not here trying to sell you guys anything at all. So, I hope you guys keep that all in mind. I hope you like it. And anyway, please like, comment, subscribe, share. And, you know, hit that thumbs up, man. And if you have any questions, drop comment down. If it's something that I can set up easily and do for you, I have to set up and do, I will oblige. All right, y'all. Peace.